A very good afternoon to all present over here. And just after seeing the presentation of the Subharti University, which Dr. Manoj carried it out with a note कि अत्याचार हो रहा है, but ऐसा नहीं था, अत्याचार नहीं था, because I think everybody was deeply into it and looking into it and carrying the message which you wanted to transfer or transform here, how the education system is being now getting it. And then we are into this session on a very important and relevant subject, specifically when we are talking about the National Education Policy, NEP 2020, being followed and carried out in our country and moving towards the Viksit Bharat. That is what the higher education is going through. And we have the galaxy of the senior academicians with us. And fortunately, one of the Vice Chancellor of Central University of Haryana, Mahendragarh, Professor Tankeshwar, where I also had a chance to work as the Registrar of that university. So he's amongst us. We have from the Amritsar also. We have from Khandwa, Madhya Pradesh. Sir, I also started my career from Raipur. So at that time, it was the part of the Madhya Pradesh. Now it is a Chhattisgarh, and definitely Dr. Manoj over here. So welcome to all the senior panelists. And I think not to move around into other aspects, I will request Professor Tankeshwar to start on this discussion on this topic, specifically the strategies, what we have to carry out, seeking into when we are talking about the national credit framework, when we are talking about the curriculum development, taking into account all the aspects and factor what the National Education Policy 2020 aims for and is moving ahead. So over to Professor Tankeshwar.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for giving me opportunity to be part of this panel discussion. And the topic given is obviously very, very important because I could see the Subharti presentation on the end. He showed that you have the sustainable goals, SDG, which he was talking about. Some of them he has achieved, right? So, but making these sustainable development goals achievable, we have to see that we make our curriculum in such a way that it become part of everyone in the sense whosoever gets a degree, he should be first of all he should know what is the value of his education, and the value of education will not be complete unless until we work all of us on SDG 17, right? So our curriculum should be, as we were saying, the NEP talk about that. I was just reading yesterday that how our NEP PG talking about that we should also look into AI, ML, and all these things, But these things are important unless until we say we include SDG in our curriculum. We will not be, performing the duties, as we know that these are the very important things for the future generation, not only for us. We may earn something by doing some technology, something like that, but we will not be able to provide the right kind of atmosphere to our, the future generation. So it is very, very important for all of us to make that our curriculum have this, freedom that the students learn about that what is their responsibility toward this world. We talk about the various sustainable development goals, and there should not be poverty, should be the quality education, there should be health, good health is to everyone, with various things which you have to, but that cannot be achieved unless until all of us work for the same. It is not that some organization or the social workers will be able to do that. No, it will not be. I just recalling that we used to do social work, but few years back, maybe 10 or 15 years back, there came a subject like social work. it become a part of, now it's a MA in social work. It is becoming a popular course. And for example, if we look at, as a in the universities, we are also given the responsibility to adopt the villages, and we are adopting it. And it's not only, we are also doing the our social responsibility towards as a community social responsibility. Companies are given the corporate social responsibilities. So that means we have to, we have to work for, that the sustainability of the is as it is very important. So it should be embedded into our syllabi or the curriculum, and unless until we do it, we will not be, fulfilling the purpose of the real education. So with these initial remark, I say that, we should make the strategies. Obviously, there will be challenges. We at all challenges, I think you should take it as opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and rightly initiated, because the core competence of any education knowledge starts from the curriculum, and that curriculum has to be dynamic. And specifically, when we are talking about the sustainability, we are talking about the quality education, we are talking on the accountability of the education. So the curriculum content and design is very important, and always, you will pardon me, but always, because I have seen now it's 30 plus years working into the higher education, and specifically when we go out, when we approach the corporate sector, so the corporate people are not ready to accept what are being taught into the universities. They always have their own kind of seeing or perceiving to the what the the things should be into the young students when they pass out from the university. And that is what there has always been a talk and debate, that how to reduce the gap between the industry and the higher educational institute. So we have with us Professor Ramamoorthy, uh, a man from management, a man from the business aspect. So sir, I would just like to point it out over here and give it to you. How do you feel? I mean, like this curriculum, which is very responsible and has to be responsive to the society, and specifically making the education move ahead, not only to understand the knowledge but towards the creativity and innovations.
It's a very interesting one. I think in fact, it's not nothing to do with this summit today. Yesterday, I had a meeting. I called all the department chairs, and then I had a meeting with them. I asked them to relook at the curriculum for the next year. I said we need to revise our curriculum. What I felt is that, being a management school, I don't have the liberty of having arts and sciences and things like that. It is too heavily loaded on the technical side, okay, with very little scope for other non-business related subjects. But then I still gave them, let's just to give you an example, like we teach a course on ethics. Where does ethics comes from? It comes from philosophy. Similarly, like, when you talk about human behavior, it comes from psychology. I said, like, why don't we try to revise our curriculum within the existing framework, and then, like, refocus our attention away from business into broader, like, individual development, better teamwork, conflict management, resolution. Although we teach these things, like, the focus is one thing that is different. Okay. So what I'm saying is that the content of the subject may not change, but the focus or the objective that we are trying to focus on can change. Similarly, like, 3 years ago, I liberated one course and I made it mandatory for all the MBA students of IIM Amritsar to do a social involvement project. See, when we talk about sustainable goals like, diversity, equity, inclusiveness, poverty eradication, literacy, right? It's not one aspect. All of this plus environment. They have much broader goals. Now, unless a person really goes into the field and sees, what is going on there, right? There is no way for them to know. You can't read a case study. I mean, I'm not saying that, we do teach case studies. You can learn some from the case study. But, how do you experience something that is going on in the field? Unless you're able to go out there and do it. So all our students before graduation, the second year, have to do a social involvement project, which also relates them to the grassroots problems that are prevalent in the society, so that when they graduate and go, they also realize that. And of course, we also, this is a course that was not my interest originally, but I started teaching it for the past 20 years and I liked it. So I started developing it. It's called as a Business and Society. It's a course that I offer as an elective course. I taught that in Ahmedabad, I taught in Bulgaria, I taught in Latvia, I taught in the US. So this course, for example, is a very interesting one. It talks about climate-related issues, diversity, human rights, variety of things that are mostly social-oriented, not necessarily where we look at the return on investment, which is typical of the business school orientation. So it is a very difficult. I mean, I won't say it's difficult or impossible. I think what we really have to do is take a hard look, number one, into our own the courses that we teach and how we can relate those courses or that subject matter or content of the courses into sustainable goals, and if possible, liberate some of the things. And there are other things also we do. For example, this. I'm not doing it right now because of constraint. That once we go to the campus in the next couple of months, we will be introducing yoga and meditation and those type of personal development things before or after classes. But unlike the universities where you have a different, number of contact hours and all this stuff, we also have that requirement. But I'm really looking at more how we can free up some subject matters on the courses by reducing the overlaps and all that, and make more time for students to go into other sustainable curriculum. So we have to relook at the curriculum. It doesn't make sense for me to teach the same subject in multiple courses. Once you are taught in one or two courses, then why do we repeat it and see whether they can be freed up for some more holistic development in line with the NEP.
So that is the words. That is the key toward the holistic development. And as I can see on the dais, we have a very unique phenomena of the panelist over here. If we just see it, we just heard Dr. Manoj. So now a person from IIM and then a person from the central universities. The Vice Chancellor of the Central University also spoke about it. We have another professor with us, Professor Joshi from Khandwa. Now the issue which comes to us is when we are talking about a curriculum, so we always find that it has to be a policy, has to be a national one, or it has to be a need-based, suited towards what actually is the requirement at the ground level. So feeling the topography and feeling the diversity of our country, I'll come to the next part when we'll have a next round specifically to all the panelists. How we will strategies will be made to carry out. But before that, I just want to understand, because you come from a place Khandwa where you find the students which are onto the local need based more rather than students studying in a metro like Delhi or any other, Bangalore or any other. So what do you think? The curriculum designing needs to be influenced by the local needs so that they understand much better, carrying it out towards the holistic development, what Professor Ramamoorthy indicated, going towards the SDG, what Professor Tankeshwar carried out, or it has to be adoption of a national curriculum. How we cope up with this difference, how to bridge it, if you can put some of your views on that.
सभी को धन्यवाद। मुझे लगता है कि बहुत महत्वपूर्ण विषय को यहाँ पर उठाया है। अक्सर देखा जाता है कि उच्च शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में हम वो गोल नंबर 4 को देखेंगे, एजुकेशन फॉर ऑल की बात करेंगे और वहीं से हमारी बात सोच लेंगे कि हमने इसको अलाइन कर लिया। सारे के सारे 17 गोल्स को अगर हम पढ़ें तो वो सभी मानव मूल्यों की बात ही करते हैं मूल रूप से। आपने जो सीधा प्रश्न मुझसे किया, और मैं ग्रामीण भारत से आता हूँ, मेरे विश्वविद्यालय में 100% छात्र ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों के हैं, SC ST और OBC 85% हैं और सभी कृषक परिवारों से या भूमिहीन कृषक परिवारों से आते हैं। तो आपने बिल्कुल सही चीज को पूछा है कि किस तरीके का क्यूरिकुलम डिजाइन किया जाए। मैं 3-4 चीजें यहाँ रखना चाहूँगा, और चाहे वो शहरी हो चाहे ग्रामीण हो, हम सबको स्वच्छ पानी चाहिए, हम सबको पौष्टिक भोजन चाहिए, हम सबको स्वच्छ हवा चाहिए। ये 3 तो हमारी मूल आवश्यकताएं हैं ही, और ये सभी तभी संभव हो सकती है कि हमारी नदियां जिंदा हैं क्या, हमें पूछना चाहिए। मैं जिस विश्वविद्यालय से आता हूँ बिल्कुल करीब से नर्मदा द ग्रेट रिवर वो बहती है और रोज दिन उसको देखता हूँ। गंगा सफाई अभियान में भी लंबा समय काम कर चुका हूँ, तो नदियों के बारे में मेरा एक अपनी विचारधारा है। और जब हम SDGs के साथ में अलाइन करने की बात करते हैं तो क्या हम ये सिर्फ ऊपर से होके निकल जाएंगे, या हम अपने सारे क्यूरिकुलम में कोर्सेज को उस तरीके से देखने की कोशिश करेंगे। मुझे लगता है कि जैसे नदी विज्ञान नाम का विषय आज हमारे विश्वविद्यालयों में बहुत गहराई से पढ़ाया नहीं जाता। 400 नदियों में से आप पाएंगे कि मर चुकी है नदियां, 90% मिट्टी जो है हमारी बीमार हो चुकी है। जलवायु परिवर्तन के दौर से हम गुजर रहे हैं, तो हम किस तरीके से करेंगे। मेरी चिंता जो है इस समय अपने विश्वविद्यालय को लेकर भी और उच्च शिक्षा के वातावरण को लेकर भी, और नई शिक्षा नीति अब ये खुलापन देती है हमको कि हम उस तरीके के कोर्सेज को डिजाइन कर सकें। तो मेरा मानना है कि इस अवसर का भरपूर उपयोग उठाया जाना चाहिए और हमें अपने क्यूरिकुलम्स को फिर से रिविजिट करना चाहिए। जहां हमको ग्लोबल इश्यूज की बात आती है उनको ग्लोबल देखना ही होगा, पर जहां लोकल इश्यूज की बात आती है उनको भी हम छोड़ नहीं सकते हैं। तो शायद ये अनिवार्यता होगी हमारे लिए, चूंकि मेरे विश्वविद्यालय में ज़्यादातर कृषि और ग्रामीण विकास से संबंधित ही कार्यक्रमों को प्राथमिकता दी जाती है। कोर इंजीनियरिंग से दूर हैं हम, कोर मेडिकल से दूर हैं हम, किंतु ये जो विषय है इनके ऊपर अगर हम नज़र डालते हैं तो आप पाएंगे कि आपको ये सारे 17 SDGs को आप बड़े आसानी से टच कर लेते हैं। तो शुरुआती कमेंट के रूप में तो मैं यही कहूँगा कि ये जो 17 गोल्स हैं इनके किसी न किसी रूप में एकेडमीज, ट्रेनिंग से के फैसिलिटीज या डेक्सटैरिटीज होने ही चाहिए कम्युनिटी के साथ में बगैर काम किए। और अब तो नई शिक्षा नीति आपको कहती है कि आपका कम्युनिटी कनेक्ट कितना अच्छा है, तो लाइव लेबोरेटरीज के बारे में विचार करना होगा। विश्वविद्यालयों को मेरा मानना है कि वो समाज का दर्पण होते हैं, मिरर ऑफ द सोसाइटी। तो जैसा विश्वविद्यालय होगा वैसा समाज बनेगा, जैसा समाज होगा वैसा विश्वविद्यालय बनेगा। और अगर हम सबकी ये चिंता है कि वातावरण, जलवायु परिवर्तन हो रहा है और हमको ये वैश्विक लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त करना है, तो मुझे लगता है कि समाज के पास फिर से जाना पड़ेगा। अगर अगले राउंड में होगा तो मैं अपनी बात और स्पष्ट करूंगा। धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। और बहुत अच्छे से आपने जो यहाँ पे आज जो एक मार्क किया जो जो बहुत जरूरी है उच्च शिक्षा के लिए, मैं तो सिर्फ उच्च शिक्षा ही नहीं पूरी शिक्षा के लिए बहुत जरूरी है। और जो आपने दिया लोकल टू ग्लोबल, बिकॉज जब तक आप लोकली उसको आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर पाएंगे कारकों को, उसके अंदर में सुधार नहीं ला पाएंगे, तो कैसे हम आगे पथ पे चलेंगे और कैसे हम अपने वो SDG गोल्स के तरफ में अग्रसित होते हुए उनके ऊपर में लक्ष्य प्राप्त करेंगे। नाउ कमिंग बैक, बिकॉज वी सॉ द प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ your university, and it is a university with multi-dimensional and multi curriculums being presented over there, starting from engineering, technology, medical, and as rightly said by Professor Joshi also, means like we need to have a live laboratories now. That is how the education system or the curriculum of the medical sciences is rated very high of our country on the global map, because we produce very good doctors, And we also produce very good technocrats and IT people. So you being a dean of the Faculty of Technology, so Dr. Manoj, I would just like to put to you, how do you feel? Like what changes has come in the last few years, and specifically seeing the openness when we have the exit entry and multiple levels of carrying it out into the higher education with the new education policy. So what do you feel? Like how the curriculum design, curriculum content, curriculum core has to be identified so that we lead to our goals carrying out for the future lead educators.
When we talk about the curriculum enrichment, so this should be very clearly understood that throughout the time span of 1000 years, we have been deprived by the sustainable curriculum enrichment. Otherwise, in the ancient India, we were very, very enriched with the sustainable curriculum engagements. We can see the time in the ancient India. We can see the Vedas. The Atharveda says how to praise the Mother Earth, Mother Planet, how to praise with the hymns and the prayers. So this is all about we are being practicing. We have the Gurukul Pratha, Gurukul tradition, where you can see the Lord Rama, the son of a king, along with his brothers, was living with the hermitages in the forest, green forest, and they were onto the basic natural environment, plucking the foods from the trees, and means they are not damaging any type of environmental resources, and they are the curriculum was so enriched that all the students were given the task to be in touch with the environment, with the sustainable. They have been means the sage that Rishi also told that how to build the technology. So all these have been the curriculum was enriched throughout the years in the ancient India. It has been throughout the inventions throughout the past 1000 years that we have deprived our major considerations of curriculum enrichment in the sustainability, and we are on to the simply teaching and learning based curriculum. What we and Subharti we are doing, like we because like sustainability is a buzzword. It's like everybody is saying we have to achieve these 17 SDGs and all, but how to achieve those SDGs? So we have created a strategic plan over in our university. We have included all those three pillars like societal equity, equability, and the environment and the economy. So we encapsulated all these three elements in one course, and we make it mandatory, and all the discipline and all the courses has all the programs has to take it on the mandatory ground. So this is all what we people are doing. We are offering sustainability based project learning through we push our students into the villages, into the nearby biodiversities and all, and they go and they make their project, and every project is aligned with the SDGs. Okay, and when we talk about the curriculum enrichment, in that curriculum enrichment, suppose there is a course of SDG. Okay, so in that course, every unit is aligned and mapped with each and every SDG. Okay, suppose SDG 1 is there, suppose SDG 2 is there. So every unit is mapped with SDGs. So then the research comes. So when we are performing the research, then again the same scenario. We align that research with the SDGs. So at least our students should be sensitized that how this society is working to achieve the goals of the SDGs. Even our at the institutional level, we have created a policy that 2-day car free would be there. So policy is there, stringent policy is there, and next to that, the faculty development programs are being conducted. faculty development programs in the area of these SDGs and all. So, and right now I'm proud to say that 5% of my faculties are now SDG ready, means they are trained with the SDGs and all for teaching all our students in the universities. So this is all what we people are doing in the universities. Thank you.
That is rightly, because now what Dr. Manoj has pointed out and incited into the basic concept, because like the education in our country, because we have been proud to say that that was the basis of the Sanskriti of the Indian system, knowledge system, IKS, and which has taken a very important factor even into the new education policy. It is a main pillar, one of the major pillar where how the education has to be transformed right from the previous things what we had been carried out onto the global, like what Professor Joshi was talking about. But again, coming to the panel to think on this and to just deliberate that as we say that for any good curriculum, this is dependent on 4C. Number one is your communication. Number two is your collaboration. Number third is your critical thinking. And fourth is the creative. So 4Cs are very important for making a curriculum to go and reach toward what we are aiming towards, the accountability of the education, the fifth pillar of the new education policy. As we all know that access, equity, affordability and quality. So quality of the education has always been there in our country, but now the accountability part, the accountability that this education has a meaning, and that is how the curriculum has to be designed. And then with openness, including the IKS into that Indian knowledge system, including the latest technologies, including to stand on the global map with the education, and above all, giving freedom for learning the education. That is very important, because you have a different step of entry and exit into the higher education system now. Specifically, all regulatory authorities, what Dr. Manoj was just showing it over here, AICT recently, I know Professor Tankeshwar and Professor Ramamoorthy must be very well aware of it, that AICT recently only carried out a national curriculum for the BBA program, mixing all that what kind of different nomenclature we offer, we used to give into the different universities, BBA CAM, BBA Banking Insurance, BBA General, BBA IVD, BBA etc., etc., etc. And now they have made a curriculum. Fortunately, the university where I am serving, my Vice Chancellor, Professor Anu Singh Latar, had been the chair of that committee, and many members all across the country. So they have come with a national curriculum, one model curriculum. At least these things are to be offered, should be the content of the course for carrying out the BBA, with so many credits to earn by a student, along with other parameters aspect. So I will just request Professor Ramamoorthy to highlight more into it. How do we carry out specifically, sir, when a student will carry out 1 year of study, then go out, exit, take an exit path. After some years, he comes, because now he has the ABC with it. He has the academic bank credits with him. So he can earn the credits at any stage. So how does the curriculum has to be designed, carrying it out, that we have to carry it out all across the country, making both the component, the need as well as the local component of the curriculum.
Okay. Since I spent considerable time in the US teaching there for nearly 30 years, I can share some, their students move from university to university. Okay. And they do, for example, do 1 year in one university and then take a break, or sometimes they come back to the same university. This goes on. I have not seen this particular document about the timeline, because IIMs, for example, like we are fairly autonomous. So in that sense, like we have much more freedom. So what I would say is that I am not sure whether there is any specific time period, from the time the student takes the first course and completes the last requirement to graduate. Does it mean that a student can take 20 years and then say, each year I took one course here and there, and then now, how do I convert that into a degree? That is something, if it is not done, I think that is something we must address it. Second thing, some fields, you are likely to find the field is changing so dynamically. Okay, for example, computer science, right? Technology. You can't have, for example, like a degree somebody accumulates credit by credit and go on for 20 years. Because in fact, what we studied 3 years ago is outdated already. Okay. Or sometimes even like in 9 months, something is outdated. So I think that is something that we have to keep in mind, that how do we address those type of dynamic changes that are taking place in the technology, right, in the environment. Okay. Even business, it's not the same. The MBA I did like 40 years ago, and the MBA that we are teaching now, although there are some subjects that are common, but there are a lot of big differences there. I am sure that the same is true of every other field like physics, chemistry, biology, and so on and so forth. So one is, how do we make that time period this one? I think the second challenge, I would say, is that each university, as per the NEP, each university can say 50% of the courses must be taken in that university. Okay. And this model can also be re-looked at it, because should it be 50% or 1/3? We have like the last 1 year or 1.5 years must be done here, right? That is something that we must keep in mind. In terms of very standardized curriculum, I am always averse to it. The reason is the subjects are being taught by faculty, and each one of us, we have different style, different strengths to teach. The subject content may be the same, but it is not exactly the way in which it is being taught. That way, I think educational institutions thrive on the individual strengths of the faculty members, right, to impart those education. Yeah, even olden days, for example, when Raman, an example was given. Ram studied under Vishwamitra, he studied under Agastya, learned something from Vasisht. So different people, the same, each one had their own strength. Here also, I think the same institution, university, the same thing, that each one of us have different strength, and what comes out is a culmination of strength of various faculty members. Okay, so given that the academic bank of credit, or even the electives that we offer, some universities may not offer an elective. Okay, how do we handle that? So these are some challenges we must keep in mind. I don't think we have a solution. There are solutions will always emerge that we have to keep in mind in terms of whether there should be a universal centralized curriculum, or it should be more flexible, or can we have some certain parts to be centralized, or like common, and then like certain to be left more flexible. Thank you.
Very rightly, because that is what the aim and the impact of that is, that few components have to be carried out, rest all depending upon the needs of and making it more open. And now hearing from such a legendary person, means 2 to 3 times tenure in a state university and now heading the central university, Professor Tankeshwar, how do you see this? Like the component content of a curriculum, as rightly pointed out by Professor Ramamoorthy, that it has to be flexible. Okay, when we have a more entry-exit system over here, because conventionally a student used to join in any of the courses, so he used to carry out, and there used to be a span of period for completing the degree. If it is 3 years, so 3 plus 2 was the general idea. Now we have the 4th year also. We have the honors degree also. And now we also have that after 4 years, you are going straight to the research. You can simply move. You don't even need to go for the master. So the component of the curriculum, how do you perceive that it should be, so that we carry out on a movement also upward, and on the other sense, we do not compromise with the knowledge what the student has to acquire.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you're talking about we have a 3-year course and 4-year research degree and also 1-year master degree. All these things are providing essentially the flexibility and the freedom to the student to move faster. If I look at how many years of the education has gone to a student when he become a graduate. It's about I will consider at about 17 years. After the 17 years of education, then we also see that there are certain students which are not even able to get the job. We say they are not employable. Even after giving the education for 17 years, we say that they are not employable. So we are lacking somewhere, and we have, that's why, put up the various flexibilities in the system so that the student, we want to learn something, he should go for that learning. Right? It is not that he choose this package and then choose that package. He can have the different package, and also we have for example, they are very good student who can do the research at the degree level. Degree level itself, I'll say they are provided this facility that they can, after 3 years, they can go for the 4th year research degree, and then then they can continue for the PhD without going the master. That's providing the flexibility. And it is not just that the person with the background of BTech, he has to do the MTech. He can also do the MA Economics and all these things. All these flexibility, if I look at, has been provided. And this is essentially to see that all our students, whosoever gets the degree, become employable. They have some skill. I just happen to be committee where I wrote the academic. I will say the statute of the university. There I wrote that you cannot give a degree unless until you mention what skill he has. Right? We give some exams, we get so much marks, and so I always see that we have to see that we have somewhere where we can really measure the competency of the people. We have to change our examination system. There we look for the competency is measured in different way than at the present. So, and the same way, coming back to the whatever we're talking about, I was just thinking that we are given the opportunity to introduce IKS. And then we are trying to see that how IKS in particular field is related to something. Right? For example, in any research topic, you can look into the motivation that what will, in which SDG goal your research will come into. The same way, you can every curriculum, you can relate that curriculum to your SDG also, and that similar you put a POs and COs. POs and you put up CPOs and COs, then your outcome you can also measure that whether it is leading to some SDG or not. But it's not necessary that every curriculum will lead to somewhere, but the program will be able to see that some goals are achieved. Thank you.
Very rightly said, sir. And I can see the clock also tickling, like the end of the time is very less. So straight to Professor Joshi. आप जोशी साहब आप आते हैं उस ग्रामीण क्षेत्र से जहाँ पे जो छात्र होता है या जो युवा होता है उसके अंदर में एक बहुत आशा होती है कि मेरे को सीखना भी है और मुझे जो अभी टंकेश्वर सर ने बोला है एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी का एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर। तो ऐसे में जब हम ये नया शिक्षा नीति के तहत जो करिकुलम डिजाइन करते हैं उसके अंदर में कुछ फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी है, कुछ आपको पूर्णतः मापदंड करने ही आवश्यक हैं। ऐसे में आप अपना थोड़ा सा विचार दें, फिर मैं उसके बाद आऊंगा एक क्विक उसके ऊपर में कि वन लाइनर में हमें क्या आगे करना है, क्योंकि प्रोफेसर रामामूर्ति यू रेज्ड अ वेरी राइट पॉइंट दैट व्हाट विल बी द स्ट्रैटेजीज टू कैरी इट आउट वंस वी आर गोइंग ऑन टू अ नेशनल काइंड ऑफ करिकुलम। उसके साथ में रिलेटेड है बिकॉज नाउ द स्टूडेंट कैन मूव फ्रॉम वन यूनिवर्सिटी टू अनदर यूनिवर्सिटी। one higher education institute to another higher education institute, carrying a bank credits with that what he has earned. So जोशी साहब आप क्विकली थोड़ा सा बताएंगे और उसके बाद फिर हम लोग आगे एक एक लाइनर में विल टेक द कॉज ऑफ दैट.
थैंक यू. दो कमेंट्स थे. एक आपने अकाउंटेबिलिटी की बात की 4Cs के साथ में, और दूसरा एक विचार हमेशा आता है इस शब्द को लेके, सस्टेनेबिलिटी को. ये बड़ा इलीजिव दिखता है, आपको बज़वर्ड भी बोलते हैं लोग अक्सर इसको. इसका काउंटर क्या है ये जरूर सोचना चाहिए. डिजास्टर, अगर आप ये नहीं सोचते तो डिजास्टर तो हमेशा, ये सस्टेनेबिलिटी आपको इलीजिव दिखती है मगर डिजास्टर तो हमेशा सामने नजर आता है आपको. तो आप क्या तैयार करना चाहते हैं, क्या लेके जाना चाहते हैं, भविष्य के छात्र को, भविष्य के नागरिक को क्या करना चाहते हैं. वो अगर एम्प्लॉय नहीं होता है तब भी नागरिक तो रहने ही वाला है इस समाज का. तो क्या उसके अंदर वो बीजारोपण आज से नहीं होना चाहिए उसके कोर्स में, उसके क्यूरिकुलम में, कि अगर ये चीजों को ध्यान नहीं दिया तो देखिए आपका आने वाला समाज कैसे होने वाला है. उदाहरण है हमारे सामने, पानी का सबसे बड़ा उदाहरण है हमारे सामने, दिल्ली का स्मॉग हमारे सामने सबसे बड़ा उदाहरण है हमारे सामने. तो मुझे लगता है कि ये पूरे के पूरे रीडिजाइन करना होगा, और इसको अलाइनमेंट जो जिस तरीके से करना है, जैसे सर ने भी कहा कि इसको अलाइन करना होगा, रिसर्च को अलाइन करना है. अगर SDGs सारे 17 SDGs के साथ में कोर्सेज को अलाइन करना है, उनको रीराइट करना है, और इसके ऊपर बहुत सारा विचार मंथन करने की भी जरूरत है. जिसको रोट लर्निंग बोलते हैं ना, उससे बाहर निकल के शायद समाज के साथ में फिर से जाके जुड़ना पड़ेगा. यही मेरा कमेंट है.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. और टाइम अप का सिग्नल आ गया, लेकिन मैं 2 मिनट और लूंगा. बहुत बढ़िया बात आपने बोली और बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल दिया कि जहां हम बैठे हैं दिल्ली के अंदर में, अभी जस्ट 15 दिन पहले यहाँ त्राही थी कि दिल्ली के अंदर में पानी नहीं मिल रहा, और अभी त्राही होगी कि दिल्ली डूब गई. तो ये जो चीज है, इसको देखने के लिए हमारे क्या खाली हमारा शिक्षा ही इसके लिए वो है कि वो किस तरीके से ट्रेन करेगी छात्रों को कि वो उसके लिए इस डिजास्टर्स को कैसे देखेंगे या कैसे ठीक करेंगे या कैसा हमको आगे करना है. इसके लिए मेरे ख्याल से मैं ऑर्गेनाइजर से और खासतौर से डॉक्टर गुप्ता अभी यहाँ बैठे थे, वो चले गए. मैं उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि इसके ऊपर एक अलग से पूरा सेशन होना चाहिए कि कैसे खाली शिक्षा के कारण है या हमारे पूरे समाज में शिक्षा के साथ हमको एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी को जोड़ना है, या शिक्षा समाज में ही पूरा चेतना या महत्वपूर्ण कदम एक उठाती है. अब सभी पैनलिस्ट से बहुत अच्छा हमारा एक डिस्कशन रहा है यहाँ पे, और आई थिंक all the people who are over here, the August gathering in the hall might have been enriched with the thoughts and ideas of what the panelists have shared. But at the last, I will just request one liner or 2 words or 3 words. What do you think is important towards the curriculum, and specifically when we are having a national curriculum framework? What do you think, Dr. Kapil, on that? And just 2 to 3 words or one liner.
Actually, after 12th, hopping from one university to another, from one course to another, is not a solution. There should be a stringent framework. We should work from the early childhood, from the school level, to decide the pathway of a student, that where he should or she should go. So after, there should not be a perplexed situation sooner after the 12th. So it should begin from the early childhood. So this is
so you focus on that early childhood is a very important and key
Yes.
factor, and that is you see in the national education policy, the more focus has been given on the early childhood and specifically how to carry it out. Professor Ramamoorthy, just few one liner, what do you think of this, what we had discussed just now, sir?
Always I believe that most of these things, it only gives food for thought. You know, what we are doing and how we can change it, or what are the other new initiatives we can do. I think SDG as well as NEP are here to stay for some time. For those of you who are, since I'm an autonomous body under the government of India, like we received a letter that our annual report must also contain, what we have done in terms of the NEP, okay, each year, what initiatives we have taken. I mean, we have been doing, and not that we are not doing. Personally, I don't consider anything as a challenge. Everything is an opportunity for self-reflection. I think as educationists, as academic leaders, we should reflect back on our own pedagogical techniques, curriculum, our courses, how we can continuously improve it and take it to the next level. With that, I just want to conclude. Thank you.
Professor Tankeshwar.
Yes. मैं तो यही कहना चाहूँगा कि भाई सिर्फ बातें करने से कुछ नहीं होगा, कुछ करने से होगा। यदि दिल्ली में प्रॉब्लम है तो हमें वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग के लिए बहुत कुछ पहले सोचना चाहिए। इतना पानी गिरता है कि जितना से हम पूरे दिल्ली को पूरा साल कर सकते हैं, तो कुछ करने से होगा, यही मैं कहना चाहता हूँ।
Professor Joshi.
Well, my one-liner is a university is on the summit or the apex of the institutional pyramid, so it has the biggest responsibility. Everything will trickle down from the university down to all kinds of institutions. And SDGs are the sustainable development, cannot be left lurching around for somebody else to look after. यूनिवर्सिटी से निकलेगा वही पॉलिसी प्लानर बनेगा, वही इम्प्लीमेंटर बनेगा, वही पॉलिटिशियन बनेगा, वही कल का भारत बनेगा, वही कल का समाज बनेगा। तो जब तक हमने वहां उसको हिट नहीं किया तब तक वो ये वैल्यूज को लेके जाने वाला नहीं है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
So that means what we conclude over here with all the panelists, education is the mirror of the society. So education speaks about the society. Education gives way to the society to march ahead. Yes, definitely along with the economy. And it has been it was my great pleasure to me that I had such great academicians and thinkers and educators, and we had a lot good discussions over here. I think, and I'm sure that even the audience sitting over here, they might have enjoyed what we have been talking about and what the experts were giving their ideas about. One thing I want to conclude with that is that when we are talking about, at least we have come out of the conventional system. We are come out of the outbox. We are thinking into what can be a creative learning now. What can be a critical to creative mass that has to be created. No doubt, as rightly said by Professor Ramamoorthy, there are so many riders. We have to be very cautious that let us not fall into the pit again, taking a very open or very kind of a liberal system. So with these words, I thank all the panelists over here for such a wonderful session. I also thank the August gathering, and I think definitely some ideas might have cropped up, and we have to again think when we go back to our institutes, when we go back to our universities and colleges, and when we are specifically on this side making an impact on the students sitting on that side, we have to be very adaptive, very open to understand them and also to re-understand and reskill ourselves. Thank you very much.